Welcome to this edition of Everything Fast Pitch and one more of our summer mini pods. Today we're going to talk about something that I observed in the Women's College World Series, which was sort of an eye-opener. It's one of those cardinal sins, rules of thumb that we learned as young players growing up, and it was almost surprising to me to see this mistake being made at that level. Obviously, if great players with great coaches that are playing for the biggest prize in the world of fast pitch softball can make this kind of an error, it's likely that it could be happening at all ages. And again, one of the things that we've talked about on the Coach Prep and Everything Fast Pitch podcasts for all of us, drilling these ideas into our young players to the point where when they get to the biggest stage, they've heard this and practiced this and done this stuff so many times that they don't have to worry about messing it up. It's so ingrained that they can't help it. And this is one of those that if I had a nickel for every time one of my baseball coaches told me with less than 2 outs, you always tag up at third. And so what ended up happening was a pretty simple situation. It was the second game with Florida and Oklahoma. Oklahoma was trailing 1-0, so Florida had just gone ahead. Oklahoma had the tying run at third with less than 2 outs. The next girl up crushed a ball to center field, and it looked like it was absolutely no doubt going to be a double or a triple or maybe even a home run. Well, of course, the center fielder, who's an extremely talented player, makes this miracle catch, saves the ball, catches it 5 feet, 8 feet in front of the fence. And honestly, I was surprised that she caught it. I think everybody in the park was surprised she caught it. But the most surprised person that she caught it was the runner at third, because she had already started to run home. And now I get it. When the ball gets hit and it looks like it got crushed, it's real easy to get excited and think that it's going to drop in. Well, she ended up having to scramble back to third. She had gone so far down the line that she had no chance of tagging up. The ball was really on it, almost back in the infield before she even made it back to third. And so what ended up happening is because she lost her focus for a split second and started to run home, she was not able to tag up. Now, here's why this is so important and why we have to start drilling this into our players' minds. I could see this happening with players of all ages. If it can happen to Oklahoma, obviously it's going to happen to 10 and under and 12 and under and 14 and under players, high school players, players at all levels. So what I was told, obviously I said it earlier, at least 1,000 times growing up, tag when the ball's hitting the air when you're at third base. You always tag until you see it hit the ground or you see it get caught. Now, in this situation, I can understand it looked like there was no chance she could catch it. But the reality of it is, if she doesn't catch it, the runner at third can jog home and not even have to break a sweat. There's no reason for her to be in a rush to get home because there's no way she's going to catch the ball that deep and throw her out on the tag up. So what we have to spend more time is helping our runners, and especially our younger runners, understand this concept. When they're at third base with less than 2 outs and that ball gets hit in the air, their job is a simple one. They're supposed to get back to the bag and tag up. They stay tagged up until either it touches the ground and they know they can score, or it gets caught and they know they can tag up and score. It might even work out that they can't tag up and score because it's so shallow, but where they should always be is tagging up at third base so that they can react to the situation. The only time this rule I don't think really applies, but it should start off with the runner coming back to tag up at third, is the little bloopers like out behind shortstop, out behind second base, where you might need to, you're definitely not going to be able to tag up and score if the ball gets caught there. So you might cheat off the bag a little bit. So just in case that blooper drops in, you have a better opportunity to get home. But this situation was the absolute golden rule, what not to do in this situation. And it was a really clear example. So if you want to have something to show your players, to talk to them about, it's a pretty good example. Now, obviously, Oklahoma's an amazing team. Patty Gasso and her staff are some of the best coaches that have ever coached this game. I'm not trying to say that they were messing up or whatever, but I am saying that if in that situation, even that level of player with that level of coach can mess up, we need to do a better job of working on it with our players. So if we drill it into their heads at a young age, and continue to drill it into their heads as they get older, when they get to Oklahoma and they're playing for the World Series championship and they got a chance to be a hero on national TV, they already know as soon as that ball goes up, they go back and tag. They stay tagged up until they know for sure they can score. So that's going to wrap up this mini pod. Please support our sponsors, the Anderson Bat Company, Bidinger and Styles, Mule Tech, EAS, Elite Sporting Goods, Pinnacle Power Butter, and Action Coach. Make sure you go to the fastpitchprep.com website, order your Square Cuts training discs there. You also have access to the YouTube channel and all the blog posts. So there's tons of information available. Please reach out to us if you have questions, comments, ideas, or suggestions at everythingfastpitch@gmail.com or fastpitchprep@gmail.com. So thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again soon.